Hey everyone, Brian from Bearable Traders. Wednesday, October 2nd, midweek review here. So two pretty ugly days so far. Three pretty ugly days in the market. So I think we're going to have maybe a turnaround Thursday. We will see about that. It's another economic indicator is coming out here on Thursday morning. I believe it's the jobs number. Actually, I think it's the unemployment claims number. Plus, we've got a couple of stocks reporting tomorrow. We've got Costco, we've got Constellation Brands, one other I can't remember of note, but we've got a few stocks reporting tomorrow as well. So Costco will give us a read on consumer spending probably and how they're doing, and Constellation Brands, how much people are drinking. So we'll see what comes of those numbers tomorrow. But yeah, today was again not a great day. Dow down almost 500, Nasdaq off 1.5%, S&P off 1.8, and yeah, not a great day. So you can see here pretty negative market internals. Um, Stocks above the 200-day are still kind of hanging in there. They're pretty starting to fade to the red, but still a significant number of ones above the 200. And they say the consumer is still strong, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think we are going to get a bit of a turnaround day, and we'll see if that can stick or not. Let's take a look at some of the charts here quickly. Some stuff that go over the indexes, and maybe some stuff I'm watching. You can see here the 10-year yield again is dropping, of course, with some of the negative numbers that have come out. People are expecting more interest rate cuts now. I think it was kind of questionable, but I don't think I think the question mark is sort of coming off the table here. I think there's probably at least one more cut coming in interest rates, and the market's dropping. The yields are dropping because of that. Weekly, you can see here we had that spike up, and now all of a sudden we're dropping down again. On the indexes, the Dow, you can see here we held the 50-day moving average yesterday, but clearly violated it today, and not much of a bounce back either. So it wasn't really a particularly positive end to the day. On volume, RSI really peeling down. Skip over the weeklies, and you can see here. It was actually interesting on the IWM, the small caps. You can see here they really sold off, but we had a bit of a different candle here. This is more of a dragonfly doji. You can see here it sold off quite a bit, but the small caps came back pretty strong at the end of the day, finishing close to where it opened, which is I would call it much more constructive candle. So we may come back up here tomorrow and fill this gap. Again, it's going to depend on some of the economic numbers that come out, but you can see here we're getting close to where the 50 is going to cross the 200. RSI still trending down. Not a lot of volume today, not like there was on Tuesday. So again, maybe not the amount of selling in the small caps. Of course, small caps have been underperforming the rest of the markets anyway. Qs, again, a big down day, not much of a bounce off the bottom. Filled this gap back here. It's kind of in a no man's land area. Volume higher than normal, so lots of selling. And the SPY, same story. Kind of in no man's land here. Not really sure where it is. Volume building. RSI turning down. Let's take a look at the dollar. The dollar's really tried to break out here. It's just been crushed the last couple days. You can see here it's back down, pulled back down, maybe tested this level. This might actually be an area it may hold. I still think the dollar is probably the best house in a bad neighborhood, with negative interest rates in some of the other countries, and Brexit and Euro slowing down, European economy slowing down, China slowing down. So dollar still may be the preferred currency and may keep it strong. Of course, the VIX was up today. We got a nice spike on the VIX with the sell-off. I think people are becoming less complacent now, and sort of some volatility is coming into the market here. So we're up at an area where we've had some prior resistance before. I think again, depending on what economic data comes out, what data comes out tomorrow at, we may see this pull back if the markets can find some footing and do a bit of a rally here. At least even if it's only a day, or even less, might even be a 3/4 day where it starts to sell off on continued worries. But we'll have to wait till the open to see what that's going to look like. Let's take a look at the actives quickly. FNKO I got into as it was breaking out here, just over 20. I took some off when it was up here because I could just tell we were going to have another down day, so I sold some back pretty close to being flat, so I reduced my position. I watched it for the rest of the day and I just held on to it. Actually, kind of don't mind the way it closed today, although this is a bit of an indecision candle, but it did hold this prior low. So I'm still holding some, and if we get a bounce tomorrow, I may sell the rest of it up around around this 2050 level, or maybe even a little less, 2040. But we'll see how it opens and how it behaves. But certainly, if it loses this 2050 level, I'll be tomorrow I'll be out of it for sure. I'm just in. It's kind of in a long-term holding. I just think that it's got a good dividend. It's kind of a stock you can hold through bad times as well as good, and I'm just gonna stick with that one as a core holding, unless it kind of loses that level. Let's go back to it here for a second. Probably reconsider holding it if it loses this. If it closes this gap and then starts to drop below at around 36, I'll reconsider holding it. But at this point, I'm happy to own it. That's where I'm kind of in it at. So let's take a look at what I got on watch here. Baidu I was mentioning in the trading room today. I always look for unusual moves in stocks during hard sell-offs or possibly hard buying. And you can see here Baidu actually finished up on the day, finished green on a relatively negative day. So kind of interesting. It seems to want to hold this 100 level. Did dip below it, but finished up at 102.60 ish. So might be something worth watching tomorrow. And again, if the market bounces higher, it could really accelerate higher, especially when it's a good performing stock on a bad day. Kind of a interesting anomaly. CGC, we were watching the pot stocks. Pot stocks have just been, the chart tells the whole story. Tried to break trend here and kind of came up to this, if you draw a line here, kind of came up to this trend line and sold off again, lost this level. Couldn't hold it here on this little bit of a bounce. Tried to do a double bottom here, but came back again, reversal candle on volume. So I think tomorrow, if we get a bit of a positive day, I think CGC would come back at least to maybe let's turn this inspect on, helps. 2350 level might be an area where it might get back to. Nugget, I'm just not sure about. I mean, we had this really nice run, but now it's just kind of getting choppy, and it was up a bit today, but I'm not 100% convinced that this is going to be a continuation. 3250 is sort of this area here where it's going to have some resistance, somewhere around 3220. Yeah, I'm going to see how it behaves tomorrow. Again, if we have an up day, we may end up having a bit of a sell-off. We'll just kind of keep an eye on it for now, but really not overly keen about the way it's trading. to take a position. PayPal, just horrible price action. Just, there was a bottom here, bottom here, bottom here, and it really lost it today. Let's take a look at the weekly. You can see it lost the 50 moving average. It may be heading back down here to sort of the 95 level. So if it bounces up, might be something I might take a short in. Gonna have to keep an eye on that one as well. Roku's just hanging out around 100. Goes back to these levels here, punched above it, came back. It's been chopping around there, definitely filled this gap. And I don't really think I can't see Roku making a move one way or another right now. It just seems to be sort of stuck range bound. Silver had a nice bounce today and back up above the 50. Keeping an eye on that, but again, I just don't. Price action's kind of choppy here. I just not looking more for something that you can get into a trend, and I don't. With all this choppy price action, it's hard to see a trend. TLT again, this was going up on lowering yields, but again, it just doesn't seem to want to gain any traction today. So I don't know if there's a trade there. TNA, again, this was small caps. Again, we talked about the IWM already. Had a big sell-off, came right back up. Sort of some positive price action there. So if we do get a nice bit of a bounce tomorrow, I would be looking for this to maybe try to get back up here and try to challenge sort of the 54 level or just under it, 53.70. UNG, it's just horrible price action on price of natural gas here. It's kind of like it's really hard to trade something like this. Just a V reversal and just down. So it's probably getting close to a point where it's going to bounce here. Natural gas inventory report comes out tomorrow morning at time is it 10? So it comes out at 7:30. Pacific Coast time, so 10:30 Eastern time, and we'll see how that behaves once the inventory report comes out, because you usually get a big move one way or another after they report the inventory numbers. Oil, again, pretty ugly here, sell off, and just on economic fears, etc. And that's it. So I'm going to watch Baidu, maybe watch PayPal, maybe watch TNA. For some positions, and that's about it. So this is my book, How to Swing Trade, on Amazon. If you have a chance to pick it up, if you haven't already, it's there for taking. Have a good night, everyone, and we will talk to you in the Bear Bull trading room in the morning if you're going to join us for the day trading. Bye for now.